Folks, the left and Democrats, are trying to tank Trump's presidency before it even starts. We're talking about that and more next. What's up, everybody? It is Monday, the last Monday of 2024, and it's time for Pop and Politics. I'm KJ. Let me introduce you to my co host. All right, back with us tonight, as always, on Mondays, is Soldiers of Finance, Tyrone Keys, right here. All right, then we also have Nicole Bennett, Director of the Black Conservative Federation. And lastly, but certainly not least, Shelly E. All right. Before we dive in tonight, guys, do me a favor and tap that thumbs up if you haven't done so already. Certainly hit that thumbs up, give us a like. That helps to grow our broadcast, helps us to get higher in the algorithm on YouTube. So please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Definitely subscribe. We are here on YouTube. You can also catch us on Rumble, and you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify under the name Pop and Politics. We love our chat. We shout out all of our super chats, so it's the best way to get your voice heard in the conversation and to show your love for conservative content. This is not just a podcast, this is a movement of God fearing, truth seeking, America loving people that value freedom. Stand with us and subscribe so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right. And look, you see my shirt. I got my shirt in today. Came in right in the mail. These shirts are for sale on our website. This one, if you can see, it says, "Not black, not white, American. Don't let them divide us." And this is so spot on for what we're going to talk about tonight. But if you want a shirt like this is for guys, this is for the get ladies. Definitely check out our merch store. You can go to www.popandpoliticslive.com and then just hit the shop button and you can check out all of our merch. We have t-shirts, we have sweatshirts. This is a t-shirt, folks. It fits really nicely. This is actually a small, and I'm usually a medium or a large. So this I got a small on purpose because I wanted to wear it underneath like a sweater or a cardigan or a jacket. So I wanted it to be kind of tight, but it fits great. It fits great. So definitely check us out. This is really cool, and it's a message that I think resonates with many of us patriots who love this country. All right, so let's get right into it, folks. Let's set it off. Let's see here. All right. All right. So I want to open the show tonight with a quick roundtable about the legacy of former President Jimmy Carter. As you all know, he died yesterday at the age of 100 years old. So he lived a very long life. President Biden spoke to the nation on Sunday after reports confirmed of former President Carter's death, saying in part, "Some look at Jimmy Carter and see a man of bygone era with honesty and character. Faith and humility mattered, but I don't believe it's a bygone era. We do all well to try to be more like Jimmy Carter." So he said some other stuff. People, slammed him for how he characterized this whole thing. He sort of took a slam at President Trump. I want to start off with you tonight on this, Tyrone. What did you think about the legacy of former President Jimmy Carter?
Well, it's just like in most other presidents. It's, filled with some positives and, some challenges as well. Carter, of course, we all know, was a one term president. Uh, Back then, it was the economy as well that sunk him. He'll be remembered, I think, more so for his work after he was president, his work with Habitat for Humanity. Um, when you look at his presidency, in addition to the economy, Carter uh, didn't get some things with regard to the Middle East. Uh, he had a stunning failure with the attempted rescue of the hostages that were being held in Iran. But the one thing about Carter is he harkens back to one of the first presidents with regard to his military service, for example. And he was an okay governor. And he was a businessman as well, a peanut farmer down in Georgia. So we take the full measure of the man, and in the final analysis, I don't think he was the worst president uh, in the bunch. Certainly not the greatest, as his one-term status would indicate.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Shelley? What legacy do you believe he has he left as far as his presidency is concerned?
Again, like Tyrone said, most presidents, if not all, have sort of a mixed legacy. But one of the things I want to make note of is that I think he is an exemplar, particularly for, I'm going to say, my side, for conservatives to begin to even separate this idea that to be a good president, or being married makes you a good president, or vice versa. The two could not be further from the truth. I'm not saying that he was the worst president, but yes, he has a successful marriage of 70 plus years to Rosalind, who also preceded him in death. Excellent, wonderful, I love it. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be a good president, which is what we know, if you will, is in stark contrast to President Trump. He's had several marriages, affairs, things like that, and I still think he is the best president so far, maybe outside of George Washington and Abraham Lincoln.
All right, that's actually a great point there, Shelley. Nicole, what are your thoughts of his legacy the legacy of Jimmy Carter?
His presidency, let's not speak ill of the dead. Let's leave that where it is. But the man himself, leading with his faith at all times, I think is probably the largest hallmark of his life. This was someone who was devout. Um, he rose to power very, very quickly, and people trusted him because of his faith. I think it took him 13 years to go from being on like a county board of supervisors to the presidency. So, that speaks of something. I mean, back then, the mores were different. Being married, like you were saying, Shelley, long term meant that you were stable, that you brought a level of stability. Being a man of faith for some meant that you would deal with people honestly and fairly. But for me, it was the hostage situation for 444 days. Um, Not so much the gas lines and the bad economy. He's not the first president to suffer through a bad economy in the United States, but having Americans held hostage and not acting aggressively enough to resolve that situation, for me personally, is probably the black eye of his presidency. Outside of that political life, he lived a tremendous life of faith. He was very good to his community in Georgia, as well as people around the nation with Habitat for Humanity. He was a very, very, very philanthropic man. He gave his time, his talents. He lived the word of God. May he rest in peace.
And KJ, let me say one other noteworthy thing about Carter. He was the first U.S. president to kind of come onto the scene with a big time lack of understanding of the Middle East and the Persian region. With his treatment of Shah Reza Pahlavi, he totally misjudged that entire situation. And I think it also spoke to a big misunderstanding that we still have. We don't like these guys like Reza Pahlavi, Hussein, and Gaddafi, but they are stabilizing factors in a different culture and a different philosophy. Carter was the first U.S. president in a long line sense who just don't get it when it comes to that region.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree 100%. I think, especially coming from someone who was so devout in his Christianity, I think it made it hard for him to understand the perversion of, from his perspective, perversion of other religions. Um, I don't think that he was, um, I won't say fit to be president. I think if the nation would have been in a different place, he would have been a perfectly fine president. But he came along in a time, after Nixon, where the country was kind of looking for leadership, and he just did not have the horsepower to power the nation through those problems at that point.
Absolutely. I agree with all of you. You've all brought up very good points. And like you mentioned, Nicole, I think it was a time where we needed a lion and he was a lamb. And same here, where we are sort of similarly as we are now with Trump coming into office. Biden was a lamb, a pig, whatever you want to call it. He was not the right one for the time. And it does appear that we have a lion coming into office with the Trump presidency, or back into office, I should say. But this was a very tumultuous time when former President Carter served, and he didn't really meet that time, as far as what many people feel, and as many of you have said. One thing he did have was the Camp David Accords, but some have said that that would have been hammered out even if he was president or not, because Sadat and the other foreign dignitary were already in the process of pulling out that. So they were already in negotiations, and then Carter just came along and kind of just was there for the financial backing. So.
Yeah.
Definitely, but and also, as many of you have said, he was a Christian. He was in his personal life, a very philanthropic person, a man of deep faith, and many have said he was just a really nice guy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think when you think of the presidency, it's such an elite group of men, right? So you figure the most powerful persons in the universe, and there are only 45 of them, right? The problem, I think, with Carter is that it's hard to judge what the presidency is going to be like unless you've already been president before. I think he was just kind of out of his depth
okay.
there.
I think on your point, Nicole, someone mentioned that he was not a lion. It would have been a different time if it was a lamb need. I actually think that America always needs a lion at the head, at the top. I don't care what time period, what's going on in the world or not. I think we need a lion because lions always protect the den.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
All right. Well, speaking of that, we have the left is at it again with their antics. So, as you all know, we all lived through what we call on this show the scam-demic. The really what they put out, the lockdowns and things, we all lived through it. It was unnecessary. The way that policy was handled, the way the country was handled throughout, it was unnecessary. And my question to many of you all tonight: are we getting ready to go into it again? Again, before we move forward, I want to acknowledge our super chat here. All right, we have Red Cup Talks podcast with Mika. All right, so she says, you ladies going to BCF in DC. Have a blessed 2025. Yes, we are. We will be at the Black Conservative Federation ball.
Absolutely.
And Nicole is actually on the board. So we are excited to go. We're excited to support such a great organization. Hope you guys are going, and you can get your tickets if you go to what's the website, Nicole? Do you,
BCFaction.com.
yes, indeed. So I hope to see you there, Red Cup, and thank you so much for your super chat. All right. So I want to get back to this bird flu. So now they are talking about the bird flu and potential lockdowns. Former Baltimore Health Commissioner Dr. Lena Wynn, we know her, of course, because we are here in Baltimore, Maryland, suggested President Joe Biden push the Food and Drug Administration to authorize the bird flu vaccine, which Representative Derek Van Orden quickly criticized. Here she is on Face the Nation. This is clip one.
Now, let me tell you the sobering news. The sobering news is that can change because the virus infects more than one species, and we know it can infect pigs. Pigs are on farms with chickens and with cows, and chickens and cows can infect with their virus a pig, and then a human virus can go into pig, and then you could get a reassortment of a virus that has some of the dangerous qualities of H5N1 and some of the capability of spreading from human to human of a human virus. So that's what public health officials are concerned about, that when you have the circulation of this virus in multiple species, including a mixing bowl species like a pig, you might get a reassortment and a mutation that could make this something we really have to be concerned about. And that's the reason why the CDC says, although currently the risk in general is low, we still have to pay close attention to the possibility that might change.
Seen this year that there have been a number of mammalian species close to humans that now have bird flu outbreaks. We have outbreaks in poultry in all 50 states. 16 states have outbreaks in cattle. In California, in the last 30 days, there have been more than 300 herds that tested positive. And now we have 66 cases of bird flu in humans. And this is almost certainly a significant undercount because we have not been doing nearly enough testing, so we really don't know the extent of bird flu that's
It sounds like it doesn't. It sounds like from what you're laying out, you don't think this country has learned from the COVID pandemic. And there's not a sense of urgency right now.
Our
that should
agencies
match the
are
moment.
making the same mistakes they made with COVID. The number 2 principle of pandemic is detect. And the only way to detect for viruses is to test. You cannot see a virus through symptoms. You miss so many cases. Yet we're still talking about flu-like illness.
I don't understand.
Here we are. Here we are. Do want to shout out our super chatter tonight. Gimpy with the $2 super chat says, "Old Mac fought she had a farm." E-I-E-I-O. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Thank you so much. And so I want to start off with you, Shelley. What do you think of this? Are we going to be in lockdowns again? Is this what they're leaning towards?
I doubt that we will be in lockdowns. Number one, I don't think that they might try to get people worked up and panicky, and then there will be some panic, and there will be some people who take everything and run with it. That's number one. They're going to try that. Number two, every year in the fall until about the spring, we do have what is called flu season. Or that's a normal outside of the scamdemic. Before the scamdemic, we have flu season here in the U.S. around the world. That is common. They're going to try whatever they're going to try. I doubt very seriously if we're going to go into lockdowns. And even if some bureaucrat, unelected or elected, call for lockdowns, I would really, really highly believe that 99.99% of America would tell them to go to hell.
Mhm.
All right. Yeah. Yes. Nicole, is this another pandemic to destroy Trump's presidency?
Of course it is. I mean, their whole goal is to disrupt and destroy. So, we started out with H1N1, and as he said, we're at H5N1 now, right? Here's the problem. If you're a farmer and you have pigs and chickens on your farm and you breathe in some of their saliva, some sort of bodily fluid, feces, that kind of thing, it puts you at a risk. Right. But the average everyday American who may get some hot wings with a pizza over a Domino's pizza, this is not what we're talking about. They're blowing this out of proportion. And she's right. The one thing that she said is right, is that the agencies are already getting it wrong. This is not a panic thing. And the CDC, and shortly you'll hear the World Health Organization chiming in, these 66 cases that we had here in the United States, drop in the bucket. We lose about 20,000 people a year to regular old flu A and flu B. 20,000 people a year. Our flu season here runs from October to April, right? That's when everybody gets their flu shots. We encourage parents to get their children a flu shot. Certain populations where they live in closely dense areas like multifamily people or families who live inside of like an apartment, where Nana has a higher risk of dying from flu because Johnny brought it home from school. Those are people that we target generally for the flu shot. But this hysteria from people who have made millions on panicking the American public, they've got the wrong president coming for that. They really have. And the American people, I'm going to tell you now, I've not ever seen people respond so negatively to any kind of health information. People are like, I wish you would. If I had 3 wishes, it would be that your blankety blank would. No one's going back there again. We're not going back.
Yeah. Yeah, Tyrone. I mean, Nicole brought up a good point about how this is a multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar industry. Is Dr. Wynn on here, Dr. Fauci, and I put doctors in quotations, are they really just pushing and peddling for pharmaceutical companies?
In part. The other part of it with them is their little Eichmann-like bureaucrats who have sat around in bureaucracy for decades, and now is their time. Okay, so it's about a lot of personal aggrandizement and personal enrichment with them. I guess if you're a baker, you know, you live for people to taste your bread. These two live for some pandemic because it's all they have ever been immersed in professionally. Then the other thing is this: they're tools of a larger background administration that we don't see, that we don't know the names of, that are determined to scuttle the Trump presidency. Now, they tried to do it in Butler, Pennsylvania, before it ever got started. They tried to do it on, I think, the 9th hole of his golf course. All right. And I swear, people say, oh, they tried to take him out twice. His plane had a problem the first time in forever. Okay. Nobody talks about that one. So this is just a continuation of trying to take Donald Trump down. And like the lady said, there's no way in hell that anybody is going for a goddamn shutdown again. America's not doing that again.
I pray to God that's the case. Well, and like many of you have said, we have a better people at the helm this time. Earlier this year, RFK, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and President-elect Donald Trump's pick for Health and Human Services Secretary voiced his own opposition to the vaccine, suggesting, why would you need this vaccine unless you expected a much more virulent virus to appear, which had mysteriously gained the ability to spread between humans? Will there be another lab-derived pandemic? Not on my watch. He's quoted as saying this in the Washington Examiner, and he's right. So as to date, there have been fewer than 100 human cases of bird flu since 2022. In the United States, the first human case of H5N1 was reported in April 2022. In 2024, this is all according to the CDC and the WHO, the US has reported 60 human cases of H5N1, with 37 cases following exposure to infected dairy cattle and 23 cases linked to poultry exposure. Globally, from January 2003 to November 2024, there have been 939 cases of human infection with avian influenza. So, and this is a virus reported from 24 countries with 464 fatalities. So it's certainly not, lockdown. You would nothing.
Well,
Instead of lockdowns,
nothing should be locked down. Number one in America. Number one. So number one. Number two, respiratory illnesses and viruses to be locked down will only increase them, because fresh air and sunlight tend to be one still at least up there with a high rate of being a disinfectant and having your fresh air to breathe well. That's number two. But a bigger point is that what happened to people just getting colds and the flu? They still happen. Now everybody gets a sniffle or a cough and everybody's like this. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Well, I mean, cut it out. The panic is up here. along with the bureaucrats trying to push and regulate everything. You cannot regulate, quote unquote, regulate viruses. You cannot regulate colds. Oh, cold, you're only going to go here, and flu, you're going to go here. This is bull. Stop with the panicking from the bureaucrats and the people responding every time somebody blows wind. We used to get colds. The best thing you could do, as much as we can, keep your hands clean, keep a box of damn Kleenex in your pockets, put some Vicks and Vaseline around your nose, gargle a little bit, maybe some NyQuil, go sweat it out, and calm your ass down.
Right. And look, this is the other thing, that if you want to go back and start talking about this pandemic, let's do it. Let's get some investigations started to figure out what the hell happened with Cuomo and the seniors in the nursing homes up in New York. Let's get some more investigations going to figure out what the hell happened with these test kits and Larry Hogan's Korean connection. All right. If you want to open this Pandora's box, fuck it. Let's do it. Okay. Let's open it up and start investigating Gretchen Whitmer, who gave a shutdown order and then flew to an open state, Florida, on a private jet. Reputedly, she still hasn't paid for. Okay, was that some kind of campaign contribution? All right, we need to look into these things long before we ever start talking about some bird flu that has been around forever.
We used to put children and other young people, we used to put them in the presence of people who had chicken pox and colds just so they can get it and get over with it. We used to do that.
They build immunity. So, the human body is remarkable, right? As I sit here tonight, I have laryngitis. So my voice is a little bit deeper than it normally is, right?
Don't come around me, Nicole.
I know, right? And I run, a medical practice. I was in 2 different offices today, and I have one very liberal nurse practitioner who insisted that I put on a mask. And I told her, I'm sorry, the last time you looked at the bottom of your paycheck, did it say masked Nicole Bennett? Because ain't no way. And if you're feeling some kind of way, you can feel free to cover up your face with the mask. I'm not doing it. It's laryngitis. It is simple. If I'm not walking around with bubonic plague, there's no leprosy, no Hansen's, none of that. Girl, this is just flu weather. This is cold weather. This is what happens, when you talk a lot, and I talk a lot, you rip and run outside inappropriately dressed, right? This is what happens. Sometimes you catch a bug, your body fights it off, and you live to catch another bug another day. We cannot allow the people who've made a career out of waiting for a panic. Tyrone is right. They've been waiting for their moment in the sun. And since they've got a little taste of it, it's going to be like, wrestling a baby for candy. It's going to be like putting toothpaste back in the tube to get them to go back to where they belong, in a research lab. And they can write very interesting papers and have conversations amongst themselves. But what they will not do again is bamboozle the American public. We're not going to stand for it.
No way, no how. I do want to acknowledge another super chatter here. All right, let's see here. We have Mark Slater with the $10 super chat. Thank you so much. Mark says pandemic provided by the left. Absolutely. I hope more and more people are actually understanding that this is what's going on and this is what they do. You guys, please continue to hit that like button. That does help to boost our show on here. And we want to get as big, if not bigger, than MSNBC, Joy Reid, and Roland Martin, and all these leftist people that are out here on YouTube. We want to blow them out of the water. So please hit that like button. Also, want to go back to Mika's comment about the BCF gala. She's going to go. She'll be there as well. Yes, the inaugural ball, right? The inaugural ball. She will be there as well. That's the website for tickets. And so definitely, we got to link up because I want to see everyone. If you're going, I want to, shake hands and give hugs and meet everyone that's going there. All of our viewers, all the people that have been supporting us. So if you guys are going, definitely. We got to connect while we're all there so we can link up.
There are going to be so many people there. So many surprises, lots and lots of surprises. So it's going to be a great time. If you've never been to a BCF party, we have this theory that we work hard and we play hard, sometimes a little bit harder than we worked a little bit. And this is one of those occasions. We've been planning and working hard to make sure that this is going to be a night to remember, to top what we did last year. And last year we had President Trump. So this year we're rolling out the carpet. We're rolling it out. So it should definitely be a memorable evening.
All right. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. So I'm so excited and looking forward to seeing old friends and new friends.
Mhm.
All right. So, guys, please continue to like, share, and subscribe. I want to see your comments. Do you all believe that this is what the left is doing? They're trying to afford some type of scamdemic, plandemic to stifle President Trump's presidency. Put it in the comments. I want to hear from you all what you think about this. And we are moving right along to DEI. So Costco is in the news recently for not deciding not to remove their DEI in the company. So Blaze TV is reporting numerous major American companies rejected DEI over the past years, scrapping their corresponding race-obsessive policies, LGBT activism, and other alienating leftist commitments. While Walmart, Ford, Harley Davidson, Tractor Supply, Jack Daniels, John Deere, and others have apparently learned from conservative consumers' successfully transformation of Bud Light into an unfavorable verb, the leadership at Costco, a company with over 300,000 employees, appears immune to the lesson. So they're saying they're sticking to their guns after noting that numerous DEI related lawsuits have been filed, and that in one case, a company was successfully sued for a single case of discrimination against a white employee, resulting in an award of more than $25 million. That's at Starbucks. The think tank underscored that continued embrace of DEI holds litigation, reputational, and financial risks to the company, and therefore financial risks to shareholders. But Costco is standing by it. They renamed their program, but it still openly expresses commitment to equity, which means equality of outcome, still employs a chief diversity officer, and still has a supplier diversity program that picks suppliers based on their race and sex. So, my question to you all is this going to work? What happens next? I want to start with you, Nicole. What do you think about this with Costco?
Listen, Costco has a lot of learning to do, and it will come at the end of a lawsuit. Someone is going to sue them, and they're going to sue them for both the C's in their name, and it's going to be vicious and swift. What I think the other companies have seen is that these DEI programs are very, very expensive. Not only in the implementation, but maintaining and monitoring, making sure that although people don't start out equal and some people work harder than other people, that everybody has the same outcome, is a lot of resources that you put into that program. These are resources that you could be using to do other things to grow your company. So it's smart. It's a smart business decision to walk away from it. And dare I say, many of these companies were likely forced into it in the beginning. And having the opportunity to drop it like a hot stone is really, really nice. But Costco's only going to learn when somebody sues the pants off of them. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, I want to acknowledge our super chatter here with Kung Fu CJ says, "Go woke, go broke." All right. So Tyrone, you heard him say that. Do you agree with that? Go woke, go broke. Will Costco go broke behind this?
That's been, I mean, if you look at Hollywood, that's definitely been the trend. Okay, Paramount Studios is broke, MGM is broke, Disney's hanging on, but they're pivoting away from woke content because it's not a moneymaker. Now, Costco's biggest competitor is Walmart. Walmart's got a $730 billion market cap, and Costco has just over 400 billion. Both have billion, multi-hundred billion dollar market caps. So Costco's got a long way to go before they catch up with Walmart. and this may make that more difficult. So, as Nicole said, a lawsuit is one thing that would do it, but ultimately, if the uh, share owners don't see growth, okay, they're going to start asking some questions, just like the shareholders over at Boeing have started to ask questions. As I said, Paramount, same thing. All this stuff sounds great, in the faculty lounge. Why can't we be friends? Hey, but when you put it out onto the market, all right, now I will say that it looks a little different when you make a woke movie that nobody wants to see versus selling $5 rotisserie chickens. Okay. So it'll take a little longer in Costco's case, but to the extent they can't catch up with Walmart, then that'll be a problem for the share owners.
All right. Shelly, what are your thoughts in regards to Costco and their continued DEI programs?
I stand with Costco. And I'll tell you why. As a business, as a private business, they get to decide whatever business model they choose. Now, you're right, Tyrone. If the shareholders eventually not making money, maybe that will, knock them across their head and wake them up. But in principle, I stand with Costco. Every business gets to decide. I don't want the government coming in to the private market. They regulated the schools, and many they should, because much of our money goes through the schools, whether it's private, whether it's Harvard or some other school in a rural area, because they get financial aid, federal taxes. So the government had a place to do that. But in the private business owners get to decide their business models. Fail, succeed, up or down, that is on their dime. And if the membership or the members of Costco pay whatever the annual fee is or the monthly fee, so be it. That's called free market, and that's called doing what you want to do with your money.
All right. Definitely people can do, these businesses can certainly do as they choose, but we as consumers can do as we choose. And so this is why we here at Metro at Pop and Politics have decided to take action with our dollars. It's time for us to start doing that. With the media and with our dollars. Vote with your dollars, support Made in America, and back companies that honor our families, faith, and country. If you don't agree with what Costco is doing, don't shop there. And we found an exciting way to make this switch, and we want you to join us. Check out www.popandswitch.com and click Yes, I want to make the switch. It's that easy. It's time to walk away from corporations like BlackRock and Vanguard that undermine our principles. Let's invest in America. Let's support businesses that share our love for this country. You don't have to take on everything at once, but you can start here. Join us in making this one small yet powerful step. Visit www.popandswitch.com. Click the link and schedule a call with our team to learn how you can make the switch. Together, we can create real change. If you don't believe in what these companies are pushing, LGBT, they're pushing this type of DEI where, giving favoritism to people based on their skin color, and you don't agree with it, don't shop there, because I certainly won't. Just like my shirt says, it's not about black, it's not about white, it's American. Don't let them divide us. And this is division, and I'm not going to stand for it. All right. So we are moving right along. Speaking of all of this woke nonsense, I want to talk about gender studies. So this next clip I want to share with you all is a gender studies professor getting emotional over the removal of the course from an Iowa college. This is clip 4. Take a look.
It's disappointing. It's sad.
She teaches gender studies and social justice courses and says she's seen a spike in student interest.
We've seen our majors grow, and in fact, social justice was one of the fastest growing majors of the units that are being sort of restructured in the new school of social and cultural analysis. So it is, again, disappointing because it's clear that the students want these courses.
Murillo also says students who've gone through the programs are contributing to Iowa's workforce.
All right, so you can see in the beginning, she was actually starting to get choked up about them removing this course. So I want to open it up to you all. I'll start with you on this, Nicole. So are there tangible career benefits from students who major in or take courses like gender studies?
There are probably in some healthcare fields where that would be something that you could put on a resume that would raise an eyebrow, especially at a hospital that does gender, quote unquote, reassignment or gender, quote unquote, affirming care. Having someone who's a little bit more well versed in wokeism would probably be beneficial. However, in the general marketplace, as a hiring person, I would probably take a harder look at that person and wonder if they would be bringing those politics into my workplace. Again, businesses are designed to make money. This is not designed to change culture. So I would be very, very leery of hiring somebody who was a gender studies with a minor in transgenderism or wokeism. I can't do that. My big point about this whole thing, though, is, college, I don't want to say it's a grift, but there are certain classes that you have to take, that the requirements, right? And I'm just hoping that the poor kids who are spending that kind of money to go to this college were not forced to choose this over, let's say, something more career driven that would have helped them get better jobs. There are only so many social work positions available, and they don't really pay that well. So, let's pick something that can help build our nation and assist the culture. Gender studies is just not that.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to get your thoughts on this, Shelley. Before I do, I want the chat to chime in as well. You guys, I want to get your thoughts. Are there tangible career benefits for students who major in these types of courses? Gender studies, social justice, all of these women's studies. Are there tangible career benefits? Is there more value in keeping these types of courses or even increasing these types of courses availability? Or is it like, toss it out? Do you believe we should toss it out? What are your thoughts here, Shelley?
Well, according to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, this was the fastest growing occupations of 2023. There were 20 of them. Only one of them could possibly fit, if you will, the category of gender studies. And that's under this broad category of substance abuse, behavioral disorders, mental health counselors, something to that degree. But the other 19 from wind turbine service technicians, I don't even know what that is. I guess it has something to do with airplanes and things like that, like Tyrone was talking about Boeing, all the way down to epidemiologists. Not one gender study career, if you will, is listed in this list. The rankings of the salaries per year go from this same list about $50,000 up to maybe $4,500, $50,000 across the broad categories, these 20 career fields. I don't know what the tangible benefits are, except on a personal level, that wherever these people are hired with these degrees in this gender studies field, they get a paycheck. So that's very tangible if you need a paycheck to feed yourself and your family. So in that sense, that is very tangible. However, if you are a human being, if you are a male or female, boy or girl, boys have puppy dog tails and girls have whatever the poem says. If you don't know what a woman is or a male is before you get to college, something is very wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Tyrone, what are your thoughts on this whole gender studies?
Nicole brought up a good point with regard to college. Outside of maybe about 5 major courses of study, college is a scam. Okay. We have too many colleges and we have way too many majors. And we need to see some reform in big education. Colleges should be mandated. If you're receiving public funds in any way, shape, or form, you should be mandated to either prove how the investment a student makes in tuition is going to result in a sustainable income long term, especially one that can allow you to affordably pay back the loan, okay, that you might take. And if you can't do that, then you need to get rid of that degree program. And if you're graduating people with worthless degrees, then their loans need to be dissolved. You do that, you put that onus back on the institution, and you will see these stupidity courses in stupidity, they'll evaporate overnight. All right. If you want to really endeavor in this, you can go online and read to your heart's content about whatever it is you want. But college is the university infrastructure, the industry of big education. They are complicit in driving people into courses of study that will never, ever result in any financial viability.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. And speaking of these types of courses, I wonder what Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett majored in college. I'm sure she went. But she seems like
Eyelashes.
she what? Oh yeah, oh,
Eyelashes.
eyelashes, right.
Well,
Right, yeah.
she does have a JD, so she is an attorney.
Okay. Wonder what that. Okay. Well, I brought her up because Tom Homan totally eviscerated her in this next clip. She came after him talking about he doesn't know what he was doing as the border enforcement person, and he really snapped back at her. Take a look. This is clip 5.
Of Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett talking about your capabilities on MSNBC this weekend.
Again, we have someone who doesn't know what he's doing. And, this idea of, you're illegal and then you go out and have a child. It's not quite that simple, especially when you have people that are doing things like seeking asylum and people that are saying, listen, I'm just trying to make sure that I can live a better life. And you have, Trump that goes out there, him and his minions, and they say things like, you know what, we're only going to get rid of the bad ones, right? And so people sit there and they're like, wait a minute, you're going to come to my job where I'm working and I may be paying into taxes or whatever, or my kids are at school. I think that there's going to be a rude awakening really on all sides.
Doesn't know what he's doing. Tom, just to go through some of your background, a Border Patrol agent, an investigator, a special agent, supervisor, special agent, assistant director of investigations. I mean, the list goes on and on. You are so beyond qualified. What's your response to that?
Well, look, I forgot more about this issue than she'll ever know. I mean, for God's sakes, I've been doing it 34 years. But look, there has been a rude awakening. That rude awakening was in November at the election. There was a rude awakening that American people are sick of an open border. American people are sick of illegal alien crime in this country. I mean, how many young women had to be raped and murdered and burned alive? How many MS-13 and Tren de Guaya had to be in our major cities committing crimes against U.S. citizens? How many angel moms and dads do we have to have in this country that lost their children at the hands of somebody that wasn't supposed to be here, and they buried their children? You want to talk about family separation? And as far as family detention, all of a sudden the discussion goes from family detention to family separation. Family detention is the complete opposite of family separation. So look, I don't know who this lady is. Apparently she's not real smart. But as you can say what you want. Look, I made this clear. I don't care what they say about Tom Homan. Because, I've done this job for a long time. I think the president got a mandate in November. He called me and helped me fix the border. And look, under the Trump administration, we have the most secure border of my lifetime. We're going to get that secure border again because secure border saves lives, and no one can argue that. Under the Biden administration, we got a historic number of aliens have died across this border, nearly 4,000. An historic number of Americans, over 250,000, died from fentanyl comes across that border. Their policies are killing Americans at record numbers. They're killing aliens at record numbers. President Trump is going to secure this border and save lives, just not of Americans, but of aliens too. A secure border saves lives. That's exactly what we're going to do starting day one.
All right.
Let me just say this real quick. when LL said a Fendi bag and a bad attitude, he was talking about Jasmine Crockett. She is unbelievable.
Yeah, she is. She is. I want to get to the super chats really quickly. So let's see here. We can acknowledge who do I have here? Mark Slater with the $5 super chat says if universities had to back these useless degrees, they would do away with these majors. Right,
Agreed.
exactly. I totally agree. Thank you so much, Mark. Laura with the $10 super chat says, you all are going places. Stay strong and God bless. Thank you, Laura. Thank you so much. Certainly appreciate you. Mark again with the $5 super chat says, these studies are a scam. This is why we have to import engineers and doctors. Exactly. He's referring to the ongoing debate between Elon Musk and a lot of other people who, Elon's saying they got to bring in people from other countries to fill these technical positions. Vivek just came out and said that we don't have the people that are specialized in these areas because they aren't being educated correctly. So, what are your thoughts on that, Shelley? That exchange that just took place between Tom Homan and Jasmine?
I think Tom Homan was on point. I don't even know how Jasmine Crockett got in her mind that he doesn't know what he's doing. I mean, outside of his pedigree, if you will, those are the credentialed experiences that he has on his resume. The man is, number one, he's believable. He has proven that he knows what he's doing. And I'm holding him to his word because he seems like he's going to come through. This is just nothing but political verbiage that she's trying to, again, play up because she doesn't like what he's saying. And again, she's trying to get her base, if you will, worked up that he's coming. This is the boogeyman coming to, take these people out, round them up and send them out. This is not about legal people who are here legally. These are illegal people, and the Democrat Party, the woke faction of the Democratic Party, wants to protect illegal aliens above and beyond Americans and their needs. That's all this is.
Yeah, I agree. Nicole, what are your thoughts on this?
I see it from a purely political point of view. This is the toned down, I'm fairly educated Jasmine Crockett. They're trying to find, the Democrats are trying to find the new it girl, right? AOC didn't quite work out for them. They really don't have much momentum behind the party now. So they're trying different things, literally throwing things against the wall and see what sticks. This is a losing issue for them. I'm hard pressed to think of an American who is all about letting foreign invaders come here and kill our children. No one's signing up for that program, no matter how sweetly she says it. This is a very much a toned down version of her usual neck wiggling, finger snapping, calling people out self. It still falls flat. If you're looking for a good topic, it should be bipartisanship. We need you all to get on the Trump train because this is coming for you. Because Tom Homan, I'm going to tell you now, when this man says something, he means it. Make no mistake. And he was an Obama pick as well as a Trump pick.
Exactly.
He's really good at what he does. And this is what we have to get beyond this red and blue thing and pick the people who do the job the best. He says he's going to do it. The president has asked him to do it. And I have no doubts in my mind that, mid-January, last part of January, we're going to see a lot of people leaving this country. Yeah. Lots of people leaving here.
Absolutely. And another thing, who in their right mind would believe a word that comes out of Jasmine Crockett's mouth? She was one of the ones that was on the front line saying how competent Biden was, how great and intellectual he was, how, there's no there about him being senile or having any type of cognitive decline and things like that. She was out there twisting and snapping her neck and saying otherwise. And we can clearly see that she was either outright lying about it with the rest of the Democrats and his entourage, or she is just dumb, plain stupid, and didn't really see that what was going on. Because after 4 years of zero pushback on the White House or Biden's, Now, legacy media is coming out saying that they should have reported on Biden's mental decline. Take a look here. This is clip 3.
One of the things we also do in the year-end correspondence roundtable is dig into what was undercovered or underreported. Jan?
Undercovered, underreported. That would be, to me, Joe Biden's obvious cognitive decline that became undeniable in the televised debate.
At the presidential debate with Donald Trump.
Unquestioned. And, you know, it's starting to emerge now that his advisors kind of managed his limitations. It's been reported in the Wall Street Journal for 4 years, and yet he insisted that he could still run for president. We should have much more forcefully questioned whether he was fit for office for another 4 years, which could have led to a primary for the Democrats. It could have changed the scope of the entire election. Yet, still, incredibly, we read in the Washington Post that his advisors are saying that he regrets that he dropped out of the race. You know, that he thinks he could have beaten Trump. And I think that is either delusional or they're gaslighting.
President Biden has said repeatedly he was sick during the debate June 27th in Atlanta, and he's always been fine, and he leaves fine. That is his position, the position of many of his top aides as well, even though there is that reporting.
Robert Costa.
Wow. I want to start with you, Tyrone, on this. Do you see what's happening now? Now, I'm a little leery about the mainstream media finally coming out and saying, or, you know, saying that he had some cognitive decline, something wasn't right with Biden. So are they really having revelations, or is something else going on here?
Yeah, they knew that he was not fit. They've known that for quite some time, for years. What's going on, their ulterior motive now for coming out and trying to appear, you know, more forthright about this, is because they've lost ground. They're never going to recover the credibility they once had. Okay, even the left. If you look at the view counts of leftist podcasts and YouTubers, they're down precipitously because there's been a tremendous loss of trust. You look at this kid, Harry Sisson, okay, who, oh man, this kid goes whichever the way the wind blows. He's the perfect exemplar of what the left and the Democrat Party is. They have no standards. Okay, they'll you know, go to the highest bidder. They'll say whatever. Literally, these people on the news, they sold out for cocktail parties. Okay, nothing greater than that, and it's all imploded. Programs like this have taken precedence, have gained the trust. Let me just say this: the depth to which a program like Pop and Politics can delve into these issues is something that the public craves. The news can't give it to them, and they also know that they aren't honest brokers. So, you know, they're dinosaurs. The meteor, it landed on November 5th, and now it's spreading across the land. And we're the mammals, and we'll be left standing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to get your thoughts on this, Shelley. Before I do, I want to show you guys how the media lie to us. And you guys probably already know this, but we have the tape. We have the tapes of them just blatant lying about how Biden's cognitive decline was what it really was. This is clip 3A. Take a look.
Does the president have the stamina, physically and mentally, do you think, to continue on even after 2024?
Don, you're asking me this question. Oh my gosh, he's the president of the United States. You know, I can't even keep up with him.
The most difficult part about a meeting with President Biden is preparing for it, because he is sharp, intensely probing, and detail-oriented and focused.
I can testify because I've been working very closely with this president for the past 2 years. I've been knowing him for 30 years. And I'm telling you, this guy's tough. He's smart. He's on his game.
Joe Biden has vision. He has knowledge. He has a strategic thinker.
The president is focused. He's detail-oriented. He's always thinking about the big picture.
He is engaging. He is capable.
He has an incredible record as president.
And I'm often with him on foreign trips. He's at the top of his game.
So he has a vision, he has knowledge, he has judgment, he has a strategic thinking.
I met with the president, 5 or 6 weeks ago, and he seemed fine to me.
I have complete confidence in the president. I have watched him expertly guide meetings of staff and cabinet members. I could not have more confidence in the president.
I would just tell you that I meet frequently with the president, and every single time I meet with him, he is just fine.
But he is, again, knowledgeable, wise.
Incredibly sharp, incredibly probing, incredible command of the details.
He is sharp. He is on top of things.
There is nothing to these challenges, these suggestions that somehow he's not sharp and he's not capable.
We see Joe Biden up close. We know how attuned he is to the issue.
And you're going to see how smart he is and the experience he has.
I say his age is an asset.
He's wise.
Yes, he's wise. He has wisdom. He has experience.
And his experience, because of his age and his wisdom, has been invaluable to this country.
A lot of countries, people who've been in office a longer period of time are praised for their wisdom.
I have seen a lot of 72-year-olds not as capable as this 80-year-old.
It is hard for us to keep up with this president.
His mental acuity is...
Wow. Liars. Liars. He's sharp. He's focused, smart, tough, on his game, has vision, detail-oriented, engaging, at the top of his game. Liars. Liars. Shelley, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, in the words of Marvin Gaye, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? And then in the words of In Vogue, lies, using lies as alibis. That's what's going on. That's exactly what's going on. And let me tell you what else is going on. I'm going to answer Marvin Gaye's question. In October, just 2 months ago, in October, Fox News was the only cable channel that achieved 1 million viewers or more over CNN and MSNBC. That's what's going on. They are scrambling, trying to, I guess I'm going to say, find their footing again. They've lost millions, if you will, of hundreds of thousands, certainly, of viewers, which means cha-ching, they're losing money. They're losing some of their hosts because they can't afford to pay Rachel Maddow and these other hosts who have a show, maybe once a week, like double-digit $1 million a year for the crap that they spew out. That's what's going on. They are scrambling. They don't know whether to come or go, up, down, right, or left. And all of those people who were, promoting Joe Biden as smart and sharp and things like that, guess what? Whenever Joe Biden showed up, he put them to shame because it was the total opposite.
Yeah. I want to acknowledge our super chatters here tonight. Folks, thank you so much. I have Teresa Raymundo with the $5 super chat. Says, I think they meant it's hard to keep him upright. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Thank you, Teresa. She also says, with another $5 super chat, gotta love Nancy and the hands. Yes, exactly. Thank you so much, Teresa. Nicole, what are your thoughts on that exchange? And has it been that the left or the media has now had a revelation, or is it something else?
It's not a revelation. Listen, they were complicit in selling that lie to the American people that Joe Biden was anything other than a demented old man. I think it was maybe his first year in office, and the Easter Bunny had to chase him back to the White House as the children were rolling the eggs. That was a gigantic red flag. The falling up the stairs, the 80-yard stare, the shuffling of the feet, these are all hallmarks of someone who's having cognitive issues. But rather than be honest with the American people, from a political standpoint, they could have spun this thing and made it something beautiful. Of course, removed him from power. But what they decided to do is say, you know what, this is our weekend at Bernie's. And we're going to get the American media to co-sign on this with us, because the last thing we want is a Republican in office. And look what all their lying and cheating has earned them, right? The golden age of America, ushered in by a new Republican president, a Republican Senate, a Republican-leaning Supreme Court, and a Republican House. What are you doing? Just in the last 2 weeks, 2 Democrat state legislators flipped to the GOP. These people have had enough of being lied to. And the media never thought in a million years that the American public would hold their feet to the fire. I mean, they have $30 million worth of salary that says, I'm good at my job. Well, what happens when your, cable channel loses all of its viewers? You go the way of Don Lemon. You're correcting people on how to pronounce ice cream flavors. You know what I mean? So there's a whole lot of trouble that's brewing for them. So they're trying to play nice. They're trying to act like they're going to be, quote unquote, unbiased. But we know who they are. They've been unveiled, and the reckoning is happening now. It really is.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with all of you. I would just add, no, I agree. They're not having a revelation. But what I think it may be is they are about to go balls to the wall hard at Trump. And so they're, we know for the last 4 years or so, they were not at all confrontational or, fact checking or anything with this previous administration. And so with the current one, they're going to do something like a pivot or say, okay, we messed up before. Now we're going to really investigate and report and do things like that. And this is what they're going to start this with, of course, Trump, because now Trump. I think that's my take on it. There's no revolution. They were just waiting for someone to get into office that they didn't want in office, that didn't fall behind the deep state and their, what they wanted. And so now they're going to really push it against Trump.
But KJ, I wish they would. Let me tell you, because if they have not learned the lesson, alternative media is here to fact check the fact checker. And we have the ears of the American public. We have the eyes of the American public. Nobody goes rushing home to catch the 6 o'clock news anymore. No one does. Right? When you can come home at 10:30 and turn on, YouTube and watch whatever you want to watch, right, whether it leans right or left or center, there's something for everyone. Let them try that this time.
They're going to do that. I mean, I expect them to do that. I mean, I'm not, if you will, falling for this facade that they're putting up. No, I expect them to do that. And I want to say this. They've been saying in the news that Joe Biden is thinking that he could have won and he has regrets about backing out or, dropping out. I give him the benefit of the doubt. You know why? This is what happens to dementia patients. They have more long-term memory than short-term. So he is remembering himself 30 or 40 years ago. His short-term memory is shot, allegedly. I'm not diagnosing him, I gotta say that, but that's just my never to be humble opinion.
You're right. You're right, Shel.
Yeah. Now, look,
20 or 30 years ago, he was still. And that's just facts. He was a punk then. He's an old punk now. Nothing's really changed in how this man has absconded with the truth and decency, his word, with the American public. His son married his dead brother's wife, had a baby with a stripper that the president, quote unquote, won't even acknowledge. You want to talk about you're good? Fam, you have never been good.
He would be a used car salesman up in Rehoboth Beach if he hadn't, slid ass backwards into politics. But politics is somewhere where you can be a dirtbag degenerate and fail upward. Now, KJ, you're running a media company. You got to be careful because you're going to have a lot of resumes. You prepare. Joy Reid's resume is going to come across your desk. Don't let her fool you, okay? She's unrelenting, okay? So, yeah, these guys, look, it's a great time to be alive if you like history. We are definitely seeing the death throes of media, and they're going to accelerate it by continuing to double down on the same behavior that put them in a situation in the first place.
Absolutely. I do want to acknowledge our super chatters here, folks. Thank you all so much. All right, we have Jeff Arrington. Hey, Tink Tink. All right, we know who he's talking to. All right, Shelly, that's your Jeff with the Tay Tink Tink. Thank you so much, Jeff. We certainly appreciate it, and your Tink Tink does too. All right. So we are moving right along, specifically, as you said, Tyrone. You know, people like Joy Reid and a lot of these woke artists, these woke pundits. I want to move on to a woke artist. So, making headlines, a viral news headline or story recently is a black artist that says she won't write soulful music for non-melanated singers. So I want to get you all's take on this. So black singer-songwriter Muni Long says she's refusing to write soulful music for white artists. In a racist rant on Instagram, Long claimed that British record executive Elliot Grange, the new CEO of Atlantic Music Group, which owns Atlantic Records, requested that she write soulful music for non-black artists. The idea of contributing to the work of white singers, whom she called non melanated, appeared to enrage her. She says, F no, and I'm a stand on that, she shouted, mouthing a boozy badass meme. And they can get in my DM, you can get in my DM all you want every day. And when I said no one of them going to say you can reach in that Priscilla Renee, her birth name, vault and see what you have in there. Boy, do you know what a vault is? That's where you keep the valuables. If you don't get somewhere and sit down, I wanted to cuss them out so bad, y'all. Long caption the clip. She posted the same video to TikTok, captioning it instead, I don't want your money. I don't care about no Oscar for it. I won't be participating because what Boosie said, get somebody else to do it. Many on social media praised Long, saying she shouldn't write songs for Whitey. This is the N-word, strictly for the N-word, an Instagram user applauded. I love the way black women are fighting back, one fan wrote. I like that the fact that it's not a money thing to you. It's more so of a cultural thing. Keep it in the family, queen, another commented. So, I want to open it up to you all. I'll start out with you, Shelly. Um is her position antithetical to woke movements that push equity, DEI, and so-called inclusion? Is are artists this position actually an exercise of freedom and capitalism?
Yep, I'm gonna be consistent. If it's one thing I try to be is consistent. Just as I said, I stand with Costco. I don't have to shop there. I don't have to spend my money there. I stand with, what's her name? Muni. I stand with Muni. That is her creative license, her skills, whatever she's writing. She should not be forced, if you will, I want to use that word, to write for anybody that she doesn't write for that she wants to. If she's willing to take the monetary loss or any other loss, that is what we call capitalism in a free market society. I stand with Muni in a sense. Not so much that I agree with her, her not wanting to write based on a racist idea, but I stand with her to make that choice in a free market.
All right. What are your thoughts there, Nicole? Do you stand with her choice to make it?
Well, from a business perspective, it's her money to lose, right?
Exactly.
I'm just going to tell you that when the CEO of my company comes and tells me, hey, I want you to go out and hire this doctor from Sweden, I can definitely get on my high horse and be like, look here, I got enough blonde people working at this company. I'm only going to talk to black doctors and only hire black doctors. And I may no longer fit his, requirements to work there. It is the free market, but I would encourage her to listen to more music because there's some beautiful, soulful songs that came out of some of the most quote unquote non-melanated faces. When just thinking back to like Hall & Oates, Sarah Smiles, how my daughter got her name. It's a beautiful, beautiful song, right? More recently, what's the little redhead guy's name? Ed Sheeran had a beautiful love song that everybody was tapping a toe to. There's more than one way to express soulfulness, and it doesn't necessarily have to match your skin tone. As a fan of music, there's a little bit for everybody, but if she's willing to risk her dollar on it, who am I to stop her from being dumb?
All right. Yeah, Tyrone, do you agree with the ladies? Or isn't this against the civil rights movement as the left continues to perpetuate? You can't make decisions, or especially business decisions, based on race. What are your thoughts there?
I was unaware of the fact that we owned soul music. I didn't know we owned it, but hey, this guy Frank, my wife and I were talking about the song "Baby It's Cold Outside," which I first heard on an episode of A Different World back in the
All
day.
right, me too.
Fell in love with the song. A guy named Frank Loesser wrote that, white guy. I think Ray Charles's version is by far the most popular. Several people have done it. Okay. Santa Baby. Okay, it's another one where white folk wrote it, and a plethora of black artists as well as white artists have performed it. At the end of the day, I really don't think she has a choice, because if one of these music companies purchases the rights to something she wrote, they get any damn body they want to sing it. Okay, so hey, lady, do you? This whole race thing is a psychosis. I would think that, if you're really an artist, that you live for the art, okay? And hey, there's Michael McDonald, who I think they got a whole genre called Blue Eyed Soul, okay?
Yeah.
Michael
Jeez,
McDonald,
great. Yeah.
Tina Marie, a host of
Yes.
John B. Fine, lady.
Yes.
Okay. You're not the only songwriter in the world.
Exactly. The marketplace will replace you. Trust me.
Screw the marketplace.
We'll find a new Muni Long. Right.
Before this show is done, I can get AI to write me a soul song. Okay?
Absolutely.
So, okay. Have it your way, lady.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me ask you all, because this is something that's been on the right for quite some time. There are some people on the right or in the conservative movement who believe that you don't have a right to force a business, as we saw in the civil rights movement and so on and so forth, to serve, or you don't have a right for them to serve someone they don't want to serve. So if a business comes out and says, like in the civil rights movement, these businesses said they did not want to serve blacks, that should have been let go. There should be no law forcing a business or compelling a business to patronize or to allow patronage from someone.
We saw that with the people out in Colorado. We saw that with the people, the cake maker, and I think in the photographer. Those cases, they took it all the way to the Supreme Court, right? So
they filed religious exemption. So
I'm saying, but they were businesses, and they were being sued because they were not served. Whatever. I'm just saying that the whole principle is there. So this could go both ways. This is why I say I'm standing on an individual having his or her own creative, whatever license or artistic skills, and a business. These are businesses just like Costco. I don't agree with Costco and what they're doing, but as a business model in American society, let them choose whatever business model they're going to have.
But I'm asking you, so that's what I'm asking. So we know that, I think it was the Commerce Clause that said that because these businesses were on the roadway and it would be interfering with commerce, so they use that to say businesses cannot discriminate against people based on their race. Are you, Shelley, saying that you think we should get away with that? These private businesses should be able to discriminate if they want to, let the market run its course?
I think if it's a private business, in general, if it's a private business, there's no federal, state, city, whatever, money, taxes, grants, whatever, allowances coming in. Serve who you want. And the people who choose to patronize your business, they will choose to or not. That's all I'm saying.
And look,
I'm
I'll
not
go
saying
even further. If it's a restaurant and you don't want me in your restaurant, just let me know, okay? Or if it's some, out of the way motel, okay, where some good old boys might be holed up in the woods, hey man, I'll leave, okay?
just
Just
put the
tell
sign
me.
up.
Okay?
Like, Tyra, where do you go in your free time? It's like some out of the way motel. You claim
Hey,
you we-
listen, one day I will tell you guys about the time that I stumbled into a Klan meeting in North Carolina. It's that dead serious. At about 2 a.m.
Wow.
in the morning. Yep.
Mm, mm.
Yep. So you
And
don't want me at your gas station, I'll leave.
this
So
is the
let me
same.
ask you, because this is something, because we're seeing a lot of the woke and people on the left, they're doing this. So they're saying, you know what, I'm not going to I don't want white people to take part in this business, or this is I'm going to give we were just talking about Costco, only giving first dibs to black owned or LGBT businesses and things like that. But I don't think they really understand this is something that goes against the civil rights movement. It goes against they're pushing against that. Um, they're
KJ, why
pushing
do you think they don't understand it? Maybe they do understand it, and that's the choice that they're making.
because then on the other hand,
our
they talk
Constitution.
about no, because on the other hand,
No,
they
our
talk about
Constitution.
yeah. On the other hand, they talk about equality and they talk about, even the voting rights and the civil rights and all this type of stuff. And then they're doing the same thing that they fought against what the civil rights was about. Do you guys understand what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying,
We've
but I
lived
think
long enough to see ourselves become the villain. That's what has happened. And it is also a testament to the fact that we have all that stuff that King Evers, X, all that stuff that they were trying to achieve. We did it, okay? But the trauma of prior to that has been passed on, okay, to a bunch of people that never had to drink from a segregated water fountain. And they've chosen to carry that baggage when it was never theirs in the first place. And now they're acting in this retributive manner, okay, that is just as ugly as when they prohibited us from sitting at a lunch counter.
Listen, it's easier to play the victim than to work to be successful. Let's just keep it 100. One of my most favorite Republicans that ever walked the earth, Sporty Jones, had this theory of a pendulum, right? And he said American culture is like a pendulum. It swings all the way to one side and then it swings all the way back. The goal for you is to live in the middle so you can catch it when it's good each time it swings back. And this is what we're doing now. Tyrone, you're right. We've already accomplished all the dreams of our grandparents and great grandparents, and we're really living in this time without any cultural parameters. So people are doing whatever they want to do, saying whatever they want to say. The benefit that we have now versus that time during the civil rights movement is there are 1,000,001 restaurants.
Right.
There are 1,000,001 restaurants. So
that's the sign you need to have out.
There are a lot of restaurants who are saying we're not going to serve Republicans. We're not going to serve any Trump administration people. The waitress was talking trash. They fired her, and they didn't fire her because they disagreed with her politically. They fired her, but because there are 1,000,001 restaurants in DC, and you're not going to ruin my family's opportunity to make the money that we need because companies are in a knot.
That's a business decision.
Works. So this is different from that civil rights movement because now we have choice. Right?
Exactly.
We have choice, we have money, we have means, we have methodology. So it's a very different thought process. Like you said, if I go to a restaurant and they're trash talking Republicans, I'm not staying because I don't want any secret sauce on my food.
Right.
And keep in mind, remember Jim Crow and slavery, they were government ordained.
Right.
Even with the Constitution as it is, the government supported and advocated that. So there was a place to break that down or to knock that off. I mean, to make that right, if you will. That was
Right.
government ordained. These are private businesses who are making a business decision for good or bad. And the hell with it. If they are okay with their business being lost financially, then okay. I don't have to shop there.
Yeah, but I want to make sure we're framing this correctly, because it's ironic, because right now we have, the woke left advocating for reparations, for all of this stuff that they say was due to slavery and due to Jim Crow and due to the fact that we had segregation and that we weren't able to take part in many of the things that the segregation prohibited us from. Civil Rights Act was supposed to reverse all of that, but now in context and in action, when you have people like this songwriter, people in what you're saying, Shelley, and the rest of you are saying that we really don't need the Civil Rights Act. We need, if private businesses want to discriminate based on race, religion, all of this type of stuff, that is their prerogative, and we should let the market play out, and we should just let them do what they're going to do. And if more people decide not to patronize these businesses, then hopefully they'll go out of business. But in the long term, this is what we don't need the Civil Rights Act anymore.
Look, in 2024,
is that what you guys are saying? I just want to confirm.
If a business stands up and says, "I'm not going to serve someone because they're black," okay, that business is hurting itself,
right?
Because you're going to get a groundswell of people who react to that and say, well, then we're not going to patronize this business, black and white, Hispanic. People are going to stand up and say no. The market usually takes care of issues anyway. The market is actually what really precipitated the Civil War. Okay. And the fact that free labor could not compete with slave labor migrating out into the West. The market takes care of everything. And the market will take care of a business who says, we do not want to serve you for whatever reason. Okay. One way or the other, the market will react to it.
Yeah. Well, I say this to say, in the last, to land the plane, when you hear these, and it's mostly black people talking about, we need reparations, talking about we need black only, we don't want to deal with white people. We want black spaces. We don't want black people here or white people here, white people. We say, okay, get rid of the Civil Rights Act and you can have it. I mean, that's basically what we're saying.
I hear what you're saying about the Civil Rights Act, but okay, really, the Civil Rights Act is going nowhere. Most laws and acts, once they are enacted, it's going to take hell and high water to get rid of them.
So that's that, but I'm talking about in essence, these people say that they are planting their rocks on the Civil Rights Act, on Voting Rights Act, things like this, when in reality, they are advocating for everything that this is not.
Exactly. It's called, if you want to call it double speak, if you want to call it, maybe you said that you don't think they understand, whatever it is. Unfortunately or fortunately, under our Constitution, they get to do that. They get to be double-sided, if you will. And we're not patronizing, we're not advocating that. We think it's foolish, not to mention just wrong or certainly racist.
They don't think it's wrong. They don't think it's wrong. And this is the crazy part about it. They sit here and advocate for this type of stuff, but then they talk about reparations and they talk about we need the Civil Rights Act and all this type of stuff, when they're what they're actually advocating for is totally not that. That's what I'm trying to, this is the point I'm trying to make.
Yep.
So, I do want to now, I think I have a couple super chatters here. Oh, sorry, Nicole, what were you saying?
No, I was saying I agree with you 100%. And this is because, as much as we like to holler about, Black history and critical race theory, we have no idea about the history of Black people in America. It is just absolutely mind-boggling. These are the same people that when Joe Biden was running for office, he goes on Shaw the God's morning show and says, "You're not Black if you don't vote for me." This is the same dude who said we were a bunch of monkeys in the jungle and he wouldn't see his lily white children go to school with us.
Yeah, he couldn't see his crackhead son going to school with
like
us.
a hungry cat. You see what I'm saying? So until we're going to continue, if you don't learn the lesson from history, we're going to continue to make that mistake because this generation really thinks what they're doing is something new.
Yeah, right.
It is not.
Right.
You're right. Yeah.
Nothing
Exactly.
new under the sun. Nothing new.
I believe I have some super chats. Okay, yes. Deborah, Island Girl. All right, thank you so much. Says your analysis of long-term memory with dementia patients is spot on. I have 23 years experience working in the field. All right, I think she's talking to you, Shelley. Yep, when you were talking about Biden. Absolutely. All right. Mark Slater with the $5 super chat says, imagine if a white person said that about writing songs for a particular race. Out of the woodwork comes BLM, Al Sharpton, Benjamin Crump. Right. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about, Mark. You're exactly right. All right. All right. So I want to get you guys on response on this final topic, the Speaker of the House. So I want to get you guys to weigh in. President-elect Donald Trump endorsed House Speaker Mike Johnson on Monday to once again lead the U.S. House of Representatives. The news comes days after speculation that some House Republicans would challenge Johnson's speakership as the GOP is once again in the majority by a razor-thin margin. So Trump posted on Truth Social, let's not blow this great opportunity which we have been given. The American people need immediate relief from all of the destructive policies of the last administration. Speaker Mike Johnson is a good, hardworking, religious man. He will do the right thing and we will continue to win. Mike has my complete and total endorsement. MAGA. So, Nicole, what are your thoughts here? Do you think he's going to win this? And is he the right person for the job?
I am very certain he is not the right person for the job. However, he will be the person that has the job. In this particular situation where Trump only has really 3 years to make his mark, to lay that framework we talk about so much, the last thing he needs is an independent thinker who's going to go out here and do his own thing. He'd rather have somebody who's playing flat and will do what they're told. Now, Johnson got into a little trouble when he was trying to negotiate, CRs and stuff behind the backs of the other Republicans. And I'm fairly certain that he had a very long and intense meeting with the rest of the House GOP and likely the president's team. I think long term, though, if there are going to be some Republicans who it's going to be hard to get them to vote for him. It's going to be, you're going to have to really, really lean on the Americana and the patriotism and maybe a personal phone call from the president. If I were someone sitting in the House, absolutely not. There's no way. There's no way.
All right. Shelley, what are your thoughts on the speakership? Do you think is he the right man for the job? And if not,
I think Mike Johnson has some lacking and some growing, or there's some lack there. However, like Nicole, I do think he is going to remain the speaker. Under the Trump presidency, certainly for the next 2 years, I think he will be the person. I think he's going to have to grow some cojones. Is that what the word is? I think he's going to have to grow some, put on his, his Superman cape, leadership cape, get some steel, get rid of the kryptonite because that keeps him weak. And I think he's just going to have to do those things and rise up to what we need. We need a stronger speaker. We need someone who can rally the troops, if you will, who's not afraid to bring things to the floor, who's not going to cower and back down at every dart that's thrown. I do think he needs to go in that area, but I still think he will remain the speaker.
All right. Tyrone, you heard it. Trump has endorsed Speaker Johnson. Do you think he should remain? Do you think he's the best person for the position?
I think it's an excellent choice. I think it's reminiscent of a move that Lyndon B. Johnson might have made in attempting to solidify his power base. Trump is the bull in the china shop. He does not need another competing ego. Okay. And we know that Johnson definitely will not compete with him on that score. All you got to do is call up Johnson, give him a stern talking to every now and then, and he'll fall in line. People have to remember when we're dealing with the Senate and the House, we're dealing with a co-equal branch of government that could do whatever the hell they want, no matter what party holds the chambers. So we don't want someone that is, too independent and off the reservation. We've seen Johnson on Trump Force One. We saw him at the MMA thing with Trump. So he's tried to bring him into the fold. And I think you keep your friends close, your enemies closer. Now you just need to work on Thune and get him to play ball, and then you can move this agenda along. That is what it's about at the end of the day.
Yeah.
All
Tyrone,
right.
you're a good point. I actually think Thune is going to be a bigger challenge than Johnson will be.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely.
Agreed. Agreed.
All right. Well, I want to get you guys. I want to get you guys in the chat. Your opinion on this. Do you think we all know Trump endorsed Speaker Johnson? Do you think he's the best person for the job? And if not, who? Get your sound off in the chat. Sound off in the chat. I'm really interested to see what you guys say. All right. So we are about to embark on a new year. A new year 2025 is right around the corner. We've been talking about so many stories, so many topics. Whether the mainstream media has been talking about it or not, we've been bringing a lot of topics to the forefront. I want to get you guys to sound off on what news story or issue is flying under the radar that you believe deserves more public discussion. I want to start off with you, Tyrone.
Okay. Thomas Crooks, the would-be assassin from Butler, Pennsylvania, tried to assassinate Donald Trump. There are several pictures of him on the phone, on an iPhone, before he carried out the attempt. Who was he talking to? Apple refuses to release the records, but it's interesting because Apple has been known to give up records without a subpoena even being requested. So that's a question that I think we need some congressional hearings on. Who was Thomas Crooks talking to, and why won't Apple do what it's done in the past and give up these phone records?
Ooh, that's a good one. That is a good one. All right. Nicole, what news story or issue is flying under the radar that you believe deserves more public discourse?
China hacking the U.S. Treasury.
Mm.
That when we talk about how much data we willingly give this foreign country who is not our friend. If you have a TikTok account, they have your information, and not just a little bit of your information. They know where you're located, what you like to eat, what you like to drink, where you live, where you go in your free time, what kind of music you like. They have so much information on most Americans that it's scary, right? They're flying the balloons over the country. Some people are saying it's their drones. I don't think it's their drones, but people are saying it's their drones. Out of all of that, the one thing that they're not talking about is how they hacked our treasury. This is scary. When we talk about the one thing that separates us from the rest of the world is the way that the dollar is the gold standard, right? And here we have foreign bad actors hacking into our Treasury Department, past firewall after firewall, past our cybersecurity, which is supposed to be top notch. And you barely hear it. You barely hear it. You won't see it scrolling across the bottom of a screen anywhere. This is the story. We have really got to get dead ass serious about protecting the dollar and strengthening our cybersecurity, because this little supercomputer that we all walk around with in our pockets has so much of your life on it. And when you log into these Chinese accounts, they just take your data. You're willingly giving them consent. There's a consent form. Oh, I want a TikTok. I'll click the box and you're doing the latest dance or what have you. Meanwhile, they're taking your information. We have got to get very serious about defending this nation. This is very scary stuff.
Good one. Good one. Shelley, what should everyone be focused on? What issue is flying under the radar and deserves our public attention?
Well, personally, I still want to know who left the damn cocaine in the White House. I mean, we still haven't gotten to the bottom, so I still would like to know why that's still under the radar. But Nicole alluded to one of the ones I wanted to say was the Chinese balloons, just flying casually over the United States, along with these what do they call them? UFOs, something now, the ones that have been seen. And I think, this is my never to be humble opinion, I think there's some kind of linkage. I don't know how close or how loose it is, with China purchasing property near many military installations. So that's just my, again, my out of this world thoughts, or maybe connections, maybe not so. But I think these are some of the pieces that are still under the radar.
I mean, we're really upside down with China. The CCP is here in the United States. It's collecting so-called quote unquote squeeze from Chinese nationals that live here in the United States. We have deported many a spy who've been spying on our technology, our healthcare. We are willingly giving them the keys to the kingdom and looking like a bunch of damn ass fools doing it, right? We have got to get very serious about protecting this nation. We really have got to get serious about it.
Yeah. Well, I have my story or my topic or issue that I think people need to be talking about more and are not. It's flying under the radar, is queer theory. It's defined as opposing norms and dominant structures, is increasingly aimed at children and influencing institutions like schools, governments, and religious organizations. Any institution that fails to define male and female based on biological reality, males with XY chromosomes and females with XX chromosomes, should be questioned and rejected. Look, gender affirming care stems from queer theory, which operates like a cult ideology, shaping policies and practices in the US and globally. This issue urgently needs more public discussion. So that's on my radar. And folks, we've given you tons of stuff to look into. All of these issues are important and they're not getting enough attention by the mainstream media. These are some of the issues that we are going to tackle along with more in the new year. So that brings us to the end of our show. Also, chat, sound off. I want you guys in the chat to sound off. What issues do you feel like need to be addressed, need to be focused on, and are not getting the amount of attention that they need? Please put it in the chat. These are some issues we want to talk about more in the new year, in the coming weeks. This is what this channel is about. We want to talk about and bring to the forefront issues that patriots and America loving people like us believe in and hold dear. So sound off in the chat what you guys think are issues that are not being talked about enough, and we will certainly do our best to bring them up as we go into the new year. All right, folks, this brings us to the end of the show tonight. Oh my gosh, end of 2024 to moving on into 2025. Folks, thank you so much. Continue to hit that like button, share this broadcast. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe. Again, we have our merch store is up. I'm wearing one of the shirts, and I think Shelley is wearing a shirt tonight too. Yes, she is. Same one, not black, not white. American. Don't let them divide us. This is just one of the shirts on our website. You can get it. Becomes in different colors, as you can see, and it's a great way to support us. And it's also a great way to share a message that we believe in. All right. So that does it. Again, count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Good night.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.